Traders, today we're going to be looking at XAUUSD, also known as gold. We're going to be looking at opportunities that we could potentially take advantage of for this new week that we got starting, which is going to be tomorrow, Monday, the 3rd of November. So you want to make sure that we've done all the work that we can possibly do to make sure that we have our best foot forward so we can maximize on profit for the first week of this new month. So with that said, if you believe this content is going to be useful to you, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification. That way, whenever I drop a video, you always be one of the first to see it. So with that said, we're going to get straight into it. Okay, so traders, welcome back. And we're going to be looking at opportunities that we could potentially take advantage of when it comes to gold. So with that said, we're just going to get straight into it. We're going to get straight into the business of the day and we're going to see what's going on. So let me turn on the levels that I've kind of laid down, right? And some of these levels goes back to what we talked about on the last video that I did in regards to gold. So in the last video, we had the volume profile level. So this is the low volume node location, right? So let me turn on the periodic volume profile and let's see if anything has changed in that regard. So the levels that I marked out, this one right here and this one right here is still holding firm in terms of this is still a low volume node area and price is yet to go in and test it and do all the other cool things that we're expecting it to do. Okay, so with that said, knowing where everything is, I'm going to go back again and just turn off the periodic volume profile. I'll be bringing it on again, but just for now, we don't actually need it. So what we got going on here, okay, which is really important, what we can see right now, okay, is first off, we can see price did a pullback all the way down to where it is right here. Okay, this is where it is right now, right? Now, the most important thing about what I'm trying to show you guys now is this candle right here, okay, this all-encompassing bullish candle, because what that signifies to me is that there is a very high possibility that at the opening of market between 10 and 11 p.m. tonight in the UK GMT, market is going to open up. Now, I'm expecting market to begin to push up and I'm expecting it to continue to push up throughout the whole of Monday. We might get some type of retracement at some point in the week, but I believe that this level right here is going to be taken out. So what do I mean by that? Is this level right here, which is the after price did this massive pullback. This was the highest candle after that move took place. So that level is of particular importance to us. That level is 4,162. So I believe at some point next week, price is going to take out that level, all right? Now, bearing in mind, because it's also really important I say this, I am not a financial advisor and I do not attempt to try to predict what market is going to do, right? So I don't say, oh, because I want it to go up, it's going to go up, or because I want it to go down, it's going to go down. If I'm saying market is going to go up, I need to provide data to support why I'm saying that. The data that I'm using to support why I believe market is going to go past this level right here, okay, of 4,162 is because of this candle over here, all right? It's because of this candle. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying. I could be right, I may be wrong, only time will tell. So under that assumption, if I see price close above this low volume node area right here, so just in case you are extremely new and you need the visual aids like set on there, this is the low volume node in question. So the low volume node area, we're pointing to these dips inside of the low volume node as a response to where price is now. Reason why I'm doing it in this way is I could have lines all over the place and it's going to get confusing, as it's already looking confusing now because we have too many lines on the charts as it is, but they are important levels, so I don't really want to get rid of them. But however, I might have to, just to make life easier for us moving forward, because if the time comes, I will just reintroduce these levels back again, and you can always go back in time in the videos just to find out where these levels are and then use them to your own personal benefit. So the only levels that we need right now, because we don't need these two either, the only levels that we need right now in regards to what's going on in market is we're going to need to know where the low volume node is. If I am right, okay, and price does move through this because of this all-encompassing candle over here, and price does close above this low volume node, there is a high probability that is going to be coming down to retest this level again before it continues to push up, which makes our entry level, if we're thinking about tapping in at these levels, it makes it logical. In my opinion, it basically makes sense based on what it is that I'm seeing and how I'm seeing it. So with that said, we now need to look at another piece of information as well, which is the trend line that I dropped on. So that is this level right here. This is the trend line, right? And this is the main reason why I like to adjust my trend lines all the time, because it also helps to reinforce the idea that we're using the best data possible levels we place on the charts. So for example, let's just entertain the idea that price then begins to come down and break through this trend line. If price flies down and breaks through this trend line right here, okay, we will see that at this level, we have another low volume node, and this is sitting at the value area low of the volume profile. That is this white line right here. So if price comes into this zone right here, we would expect either for it to bounce from this level, and if you was to highlight this area right here, you will see that it sits nicely on top of the trend line that I've just put there. So just to highlight this idea out to you guys, I'm just going to show you what I mean right here. So I'm just going to put a little level here, right? And we can see, let me expand this so it covers the whole low volume node. And we can see, right, if price makes its way down on Monday next week, whatever, and closes below the trend line, this area right here, so from Friday, so we can aim to look for this break of this trend line for the whole of next week, okay? Because up until Tuesday the 11th, okay, this trend line makes sense, right? And how I came up with Tuesday the 11th is as I move the mouse across, it's actually giving me the days on the bottom. So if you look at this location right here, you can see that as I move it, because I'm just looking at when will it make the most sense, or when is the likelihood of this trend line being broken, right? And as we move forward, we can see that when we get to the end of the trend line itself, I would have gone with Tuesday, but I would say, okay, let's take Wednesday the 12th instead, right? So we have until Wednesday the 12th of November to see if this trend line is going to be broken. And if the trend line is broken, we should only consider taking sales if we get price close below the low volume node area. That's the only time it's going to make sense. And that level in question, that level is, let's just add that level in right here. So that level in question is, let's say 3,884, right? So if we get price close below this level, like a solid body close below this level, we can assume price is going to be making its way down. How far down price is going to go, that we do not know. That I cannot predict, but seeing that, I'll be comfortable. If I was selling gold, I would then jump in and then put in a couple of light-hearted gold sales. Now also, in saying that as well, last week, right, I took a sell position in gold. I know I say I'm forever bullish on gold, but I was like, I got to hold it next week. Like, what am I gonna do? Am I just gonna sit around and wait for a bullish situation? Am I just gonna tap in and just sell some of this stuff? So that's what I did. So I started selling from around this level right here. I'll show you. So I started selling from around this level right here, okay? And a trailing stop took me out about right here, right? So between this zone right here, this was my profit. So it was a profitable sell last week, not a super big one, but it was a profitable sell last week. It was quite enjoyable because for the most part in my trades, especially when it comes to gold, I've only been facing one direction, up. So it's kind of nice to know that I still got the skill set to do a little sell here and there where needs be. Do you know what I mean? So I did that, and I'm very happy with the results that I got, right? Now, for this week coming, I don't know if I'm going to be selling gold or if I'm going to be buying, because all I can do is put forward ideas as to what could happen in the market and a plan as to what I'm going to do when that happens, right? So if you've been following along closely with what I've just said, the same rules, okay, that applies in this location up here, which is the most favorable location for gold to go to, right? It's the same rules that applies in this low volume node area down here. But the only difference is we'll be waiting for the trend line to be broken, and our jumping will be at this level right here of 3,884. With that said and done, I'm going to jump onto FX Factory and I'm just going to have a quick look now to see if there is any data coming out in relation to gold. Okay, so we have some data for next week starting from Monday. So for Monday the 3rd, we have US ISM manufacturing PMI. And if the data is actual or less than forecast, it's good for gold. It's good for gold. Then on Wednesday, the 5th of November, we have the US ISM Services PMI. That's coming out at 3 p.m. And if the data is actual or less than forecast, it's going to be good for gold, right? And then on the Friday, we have average hourly earnings, US core price or PACE, price index, non-farm employment, right? And unemployment rate. So the time for that is yet to be released because the US is still in shutdown. So we wait for those data to come out. And if I do another video at some point next week, I don't know, maybe on a Tuesday, Thursday on gold or anything that is relevant to the US market, hopefully by then we should have some data in regards to what they plan to do. So then obviously I would then draw it to your attention. So we've got all that covered, right? So we know the data that's coming out. So data that we can act on is data coming out on Monday and data coming out on Wednesday in relation to gold, and the times for them is exactly the same. So it's 3 p.m. on Monday the 3rd and it's 3 p.m. on Wednesday the 5th. That is the analysis for today based on what I've seen in the market, based on what I think is going to be happening. And I like to think that I have logically explained my reasoning as to why I think there is high probability of market pushing upwards, supposing to market coming down. And I like to think that I've presented a really good use case as to why certain things that we may or may not want to do in a market makes the most sense. So just to recap, sales at this level right here makes the most sense because trend line would have been broken, right? According to the analysis that I've done, okay? Bullish moves to the upside is great from this level right here, which is 4,162, right? Or if you want to get in even earlier, you can get it just above the high side of the low volume node, which is this level right here. And that level in question is 4,101. So if we get price blast through this and then price comes to retest this, right? And all the data that we're waiting for has taken place, then effectively we can ride the whole thing to the upside. Once it clears this level over here of 4,162, we know at the bare minimum we're gonna have gold up to this level right here, which is 4,383. So that's what I'll be looking at. That is what I think is going to be playing out. I would only know what is actually going to be happening as it's happening in market. And I like to think that we've done all the work to make sure that we thought of every possible scenario to make sure that we secure the bag, aka maximize profit. So with that said, if you found the content useful, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification, and drop us a like. Also, check out the video you're seeing now in relation to volume profile, and also check out the other video. Either way, check them out and let us know your thoughts in the comment section. And with that said and done, I will see you all on the next one.